Oh boy, it's been a bad couple years for Death Note. First that terrible Japanese TV drama, and now this. I was hopeful, I really was. I'm not one of those types of anime fans who are against the very notion of a Hollywood remake. In fact, I have hope that one day we'll have some genuinely good adaptations, like comic books have been getting in the last couple decades. But we haven't been getting comic book movies. We've been getting video game movies. Adaptations that are so unlike the source material you have to question why they even bothered in the first place. As you may have guessed, Netflix's Death Note falls firmly into this camp. Before we jump into the review, I just want to get something off my chest. This movie is not a whitewashed version of the manga. It's an American adaptation, so of course they're not going to cast Japanese actors. Why would you expect them to? That's just so dumb. Anyway, I find myself once again asking this question. If I wasn't familiar with the source material, would I have enjoyed this? Well, I would have certainly found it more original. Maybe. But would I have found it good? And the answer is a resounding no. Not only does this movie not have anything that made the source material interesting, the changes and additions it makes are awful. And I'm going to show you why. Scene by scene. We're introduced to our protagonist, Light Turner, the high school student who is paid by others to do their homework for them. And he has an eye for the ladies, specifically this girl who is named Mia. In the next scene he tries to defend her from some guys and gets his ass beat. Already you're probably noticing many actions that the Light of the manga would never do. Light is a little bitch, they got that part right, but he would never put himself in a situation he knew he couldn't win. You'll be hearing many comparisons between these two characters, the one on the left named Turner and the one on the right named Yagami. This is an adaptation, so I don't expect these two characters to be portrayed exactly the same way. However, there are certain aspects that should have remained the same. Why? Because this is the very soul of the character. To deviate from these details would be to rob this character of, well, his character. To give an example, imagine if there was a version of Batman who couldn't fight and wasn't smart. I think it would be fair to call that character a bastardization of its source material, and we could criticize the film for it. That's okay. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, this is an adaptation is no excuse for making an interesting character boring. Do not give me that in the comments section. I will be very, very marginally annoyed. But anyway, Light gets caught with everyone's homework and is sent to detention, which gives him an opportunity to check out the Death Note he picked up earlier. He meets the god of death, Ryuk, who is excellently portrayed by Willem Dafoe. He manages to nail the darkly comic nature of the character perfectly, being both frightening and funny at the same time. He is easily the best thing about this movie. Whenever he's on screen, you almost believe you're watching a good adaptation. And then the camera cuts back to this tweaker looking dude. His design is pretty awesome looking too. Certainly much less cheesy than that CGI mess from the Japanese movie. Light is tempted into using the Death Note by Ryuk, but he doesn't just give someone a heart attack, he straight up decapitates a guy. As if this movie is Final Destination or something. Seriously, this movie gets insanely gruesome with its deaths, almost cartoonishly so. Later on, Light reads a warning in the Death Note, telling him not to trust Ryuk and that he is not his friend. This detail bothered me, because while it's true that Ryuk is not on the human side, he never pretends that he is. He hands you a notebook that kills people, the rules are written inside, that's all he does. As far as I can tell, this is only written here so you think that Ryuk betrays Light later on, which he doesn't. So why would someone write this? I think it's because Ryuk writes the name of the book's owner in the Death Note when it's passed on to someone else. Okay, that's kinda pointless. We're never given a clear explanation for why he does this. In the manga, Ryuk doesn't want to be following around a person who's in prison for years, so he kills them. That makes sense. But here he just takes the book and gives it to someone else, and then kills that person anyway. Why? Why would he do this? He has no reason to at all. I guess this Ryuk just likes seeing people die, I don't know. So anyway, Light writes the name of the criminal who killed his mother in the Death Note, and he takes the damn thing to gym class. Remember how protective of the notebook he was in the manga? He locked it in a drawer and rigged it to explode if someone forced it open. Yeah, this one doesn't care. He tells the girl he's known for 5 minutes about the notebook. Oh wow, that's stupid. What if she betrays you, Light? That is a pretty valuable item you have there, you know. And she betrays him later. Light, you fool! I tried to warn you! So the two start using the notebook. They have very flimsy motivations. In just one scene, they decide that they should change the world with a notebook. For such a pivotal moment in the story, it's a really weak scene. Light just sort of mumbles about how he can get to all the criminals now. But at least Light has some motivation, since the notebook allowed him to deliver justice onto someone who couldn't be reached by the law. Mia, on the other hand, just goes along with all of this, for no discernible reason. This scene exemplifies why this movie fails to get Light as a character. Since he's with another person in this scene, it really feels like it could have been anyone making this decision. Mia probably would have made this decision had she gotten the notebook first. So Light is just kind of there. He's completely average within the film's universe. Let's contrast this with the Light of the manga, who is anything but average. There's a certain level of irony with the character of Light Yagami. Had he not found the notebook, he probably would have been an upstanding member of society. He was charismatic and intelligent, and yet he had absolutely no remorse. Light was the most dangerous kind of ideologue. It was this combination of intelligence and ideology that made him into such a driving force for the story. At the end of Death Note, the anime version, Light asks a question. Would anyone else have gotten this far? Would they have spent years so carefully carrying out their ideals? I don't think so. This one, on the other hand, probably wouldn't have made it that far. He has no strong motivations and almost gives up a couple times. He shows no signs of high intelligence either. That is until the last act where it comes out of nowhere, but we'll get to that later. He does people's homework for them, and that's basically the only detail that alludes to him being smart. So what I'm trying to say is, he sucks, and is way less interesting than the character warrants. Although I will give him credit. He does do one thing smarter than his manga counterpart. He doesn't immediately give away his country of origin. Hey look, it's a cigarette smoking man. So now L is introduced, and for some reason he's on the scene of a crime. This betrayal has already failed. Why would L need to be on the scene of a crime? He could have just gotten someone else to go there instead. That's definitely what Manga L would have done. The only reason he goes to this nightclub is so the scene can be visually interesting. Aesthetics trump logic in this movie, I guess. This annoyed me because the anime managed to be both visually interesting and logical. These oddities continue throughout the movie. He's at police headquarters, just awkwardly sitting there with his face covered. And if you think this is weird, wait until the next scene, where he goes onto live TV and challenges Kira. It's kind of dumb that he wouldn't send a stand-in to do this. Kira isn't able to kill him since he covered his face, but he did just reveal a lot of details about himself on live TV. The fact that he's black, his height, the upper half of his face. A lot of details that could have been avoided had he just, not appeared on TV. But there's something else wrong with this scene. L going onto TV and challenging Kira was meant to prove something, at least in the manga. L put a death row inmate on TV and said it was him. Kira killed him, but not the real L. From this he deduced a lot about Kira. That he needs a name and a face to kill, that he doesn't have to be there in person, etc. He also used this to confirm his suspicions that he was in Japan. But what is movie L trying to prove here? In this version, Kira hadn't yet killed any of the people investigating him. So what makes L think he would have died on TV? He came out, threw around some insults, revealed unnecessary details about himself, and proved nothing. Isn't he supposed to be smart? L is another character we've been informed is smart, but shows no evidence of being smart in the actual movie.
There's a guy in the news who killed a couple kids. I thought maybe we could make some popcorn and take some names down for later.
Did he just say Death Note and chill? The FBI agents that had been assigned to the Kira suspects, which includes Light, suddenly take a dive off a rooftop. Surprisingly, this was not Light's doing. Light thinks that it might have been Ryuk. He mumbles something about there being too many rules, and that Ryuk could have used the loophole. Well, maybe you should read all the rules, Light. Did you ever think about doing that? Even though Ryuk didn't actually kill the FBI agents, he still more or less says he did. I think he's just fucking with him. Light then threatens to write Ryuk's name in the notebook, which the movie implies can kill him, strangely enough.
You could try, but I warn you, there are 4 letters in my name. Most anyone's ever gotten were 2.
Are we just going to ignore this? Then again, that was written on the rules page, so maybe it doesn't count. Oh, cool, Phantasm's on TV. That's a way better movie than this. So yeah, that's my review of Death Note. Watch Phantasm instead. So Light's dad goes on TV and challenges Kira. Light's unable to kill him, obviously, even though it would implicate him as Kira. I do find it interesting that Mia acts more like Kira than Light himself. She's all for killing off the police that comes after them. Light, on the other hand, not so much. Yes, this movie is actually trying to make us sympathise with Light, a character remembered so fondly for being a remorseless killer. Would it have been too much to have the main character as a bad guy? because there's been Hollywood movies that have done just that. So that's another interesting thing about the source material that's absent here. Light is portrayed much more sympathetically, and ironically, this makes him less likable. Oh dear, now we get to a very important scene, and we get a little taste of what made the manga so compelling. The relationship between L and Light. L basically says, "Hey, you're Kira," and Light is like, "No, I'm not." "But I am." Haha. Yeah, if you were expecting the tense cat and mouse dynamic these two are known for, it's not here. It's never even given a chance to be here. I hate this scene because of how arrogant Light acts. He doesn't care how suspicious he is. He pretty much admits that he's Kira, and yet L doesn't do anything afterwards. He doesn't arrest him, he wasn't even recording the conversation. So he writes Wateri's name in the death note. Wait, what? How did he figure out Wateri's name? He only has the name Wateri to go off. So what did he write in the death note? What? He just wrote Wateri. That's his given name, is it? I am seriously surprised just writing the letter L in the death note isn't enough. But apparently he needs his full name. So he gets Wateri to go looking for it before his death. He visits Wami's house. That's not what it's called, but it's the same thing. L shows up at his house asking where Wateri is gone, and completely loses his shit. Gone is the logical L. For the rest of the movie, he's portrayed as a tantrum-throwing manchild. Light and Mia get ready for homecoming. That's not a joke, that's what they actually do.
And the prom's tomorrow!
Wateri is killed before he's able to give L's name. Apparently that's information that can just be found in a rundown old building. I'm surprised someone else hasn't found it by now. Anyway, Light had planned to burn the page with Wateri's name on it, saving him from dying. And yes, that's a rule in this version, but the page had been taken by Mia, who reveals herself to be a betraying bitch. Once again, Light's portrayed as a good guy who didn't actually want to kill Wateri. I feel like the only purpose of Mia is to do the things Kira did in the original, but leave Light himself squeaky clean. Mia had ripped out a page of the Death Note, and hidden it in her calculus book. She kidnapped an FBI agent and managed to get his name from his ID. Mia had also written Light's name in the Death Note, but intended on burning the page once he passes the notebook to her. Light once again mumbles about the rules, as if he didn't already know about this one, despite the fact that he was planning on using it himself about 5 minutes ago. Anyway, L finds out about Wateri's death and goes berserk. He even equips himself with this weird looking future gun. I guess he's just throwing that intellect of his to the curb at this point. If the manga needed more of anything, it was L running around and threatening to bust a cap in asses. That's not a black joke, I swear. I hope you're ready for me to explain the ending of this movie, because this is where it tries to be every bit as clever and complex as the source material. Oh yeah, we're about to see some gambits in action. Hope you're ready. The cops aren't actually onto Light at this point. They're after L, and they're trying to put Light in protective custody. He jumps on a Ferris wheel with Mia and begs her not to run away with the Death Note, and then it's revealed that Light put her name in the book, and then it just devolves into squabbling.
Put my name in the book, I got mad at him. You said you loved me, I thought you would take the book!
Good God, just kill both of these characters already. Mia dies, but Light's page burns, just as planned. As we find out when Light wakes up in the hospital, he had someone else pick up the notebook and do the killings while he was in a coma, making L look like a complete idiot. But Light overlooked one thing. He had told L about the calculus book, and L finds Mia's torn page that she had taken from the Death Note. The film ends with L almost about to write Light's name in the Death Note. During the end credits, you see all the actors having fun on set. I've never seen this outside of a comedy. It's like they knew this entire production was one big joke. Well, what did you think of this movie, American Light Yagami? This is not a good movie. It's an adaptation that's style over substance. The characters have been changed drastically for the worse. To illustrate my point, let us compare these characters to their counterparts, using something a little more tangible. I'm talking about their stats, which were detailed in volume 13 of the manga, How to Read. I've had my assistant carefully quantify the stats for these two live-action leads. You take it from here, Sachi. I'm gonna go eat a sandwich.
Okay! Hello everyone! Let us start with the main character of Death Note, Light Yagami. In the manga, he has unrivaled intelligence, 9 out of 10. How does Light Turner compare? Well, he goes into situations on a whim, makes no effort to hide the Death Note, and is deceived by his love interest. If not for his master plan at the end, he would have scored a 1, but I believe Light Turner can do great things, so I'm gonna give him a 3.
That's more charitable than I would have been.
Original Light has 10 out of 10 in acting skills. He's able to fool everyone around him. Light Turner struggles here. Sorry, Mr. Turner. He's unable to hide his guilt when confronted, and acts very suspiciously all the time. It'll have to be a 2 out of 10. I'm sorry, Mr. Turner.
I told you he sucks.
The social skills and emotional strength of Light Yagami are truly something exceptional. He has a 10 in both stats. How does Light Turner compare? Well, he's not very sociable, evident by his lack of friends. He's also easily manipulated by his love interest, and doesn't do too well under pressure. It's gonna have to be a 2 in both departments. Again, I'm sorry, Mr. Turner. As for initiative, Light Turner has very little. He's not even able to make his own decisions. It's a 1. As you can see on the board, Light Turner has significantly lower stats than Light Yagami.
Light is now this boring, angsty teenager, who only shows any kind of intelligence in the last 5 minutes of the movie, something which contradicts his stupidity throughout the rest of the movie. To anyone thinking of writing a Death Note adaptation, stop writing Light as an everyman. That's not interesting, and that's not the character. Also, his acting is bland at the best of times, and embarrassing at the worst. Let's move on to L. What do you have for us, Sachi?
L isn't quite as smart as he was in the manga. As you can see, this stat has taken quite a hit. It has gone from an 8 all the way down to a 2. L is able to make good deductions early on, but his actions get progressively less smart. The almost perfect emotional strength L shows in the manga is also absent. He gets a little too emotional and doesn't think things through. Unfortunately, I must give him a 1 in many of these departments. Sorry, Mr. L. Fortunately, he does seem to have better social skills than the manga L. He's able to visit crime scenes and go on TV. Congratulations, Mr. L! You got a 4 out of 10, which is a lot higher than my social skills.
L is emotional and largely stupid, making me question how he's even known as this legendary investigator in the first place. He's played decently in some places, but overall it's not a likable portrayal. Okay, Sachi, that's good. Your part is done.
Woo! Now I'm gonna write your name in the Death Note!
What? What are you doing?
I thought I would ad-lib something in the spirit of Death Note.
I never asked you to do that. Now leave.
I'm sorry!
Finally, we have Mia. I'm guessing she's meant to be a version of Misa, but she's so different I'd hate to even call her that. She seems to be written more like Light than Light himself, but is given even less motivation. It's a bloated adaptation that lacks any build-up. The Death Note feels more like plot magic here rather than something that actually has rules. So I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sick of Death Note adaptations. Hopefully this will be the final one, at least for the foreseeable future. Now I've been SnicketySlice, I hope you've enjoyed.